minutes.
You guys timing?
Go.
You lost us already.
I wouldn't actually say the official objective, but I will talk this to the students. You guys are going to make educated guesses by spotting patterns. And we're going to start right away. If you fold a piece of paper in half once, you get 2 rectangles. Fold it in half twice, you get 4 rectangles. I gave you a piece of paper, you can try if you want to. How many rectangles would you get if you fold your paper 8 in half 8 times?
16.
8 times. This is 1.
32.
32.
64.
64 times.
64.
32.
Isn't it?
Excellent guesses. Excellent guesses.
128.
So 2 times 1.
It's gonna be 256,
64?
right?
That's what I thought. 64 8
You
times 8.
got it. Is that right? Okay, math teacher should know this. 5 times
I'm
16.
doing it right now.
4 16. 5
It's
is.
impossible to fold this paper.
No, it's not.
Is it 2 to the 8?
Yeah, it's 256. You're
Yeah,
right.
256.
The math content guy got it.
I folded it 4
I-
times, and this is how much.
I was hoping you guys would try to fold it
Yeah.
because a piece of
16.
paper cannot be folded more than 7 times. It's impossible. I think it
just
can
did
be
it.
proved in the lab that it will explode if you force it to happen.
I just did it, Mr. Shih.
8 times?
Yeah.
You're so strong. Good job, Mr. Higgins.
Look, count these.
Wait, can you go back to that picture?
That was our anticipatory set because Pikachu was a piece of actually folded origami.
Pikachu.
Pikachu. So the strategy I will use is say, see, do. As a teacher, I will say what I'm going to do, and then I will do it together, show everybody how to do it, and then we'll all do it independently. Oh, I'm keep tracking it the wrong way. Okay. So, find the pattern in this sequence of numbers. I mean, find the next 2 terms. Try again, Mr. Shi. Okay. What are the next 2 items after this sequence? 3, 9, 27, 81. And based on this pattern, what would you expect for the 5th and the 6th number?
143.
243.
240.
243,
Oh,
right?
right.
The next one, and then
I didn't care.
multiply by 3 again.
729.
729. Correct. That's correct.
Calculator. There's a reason the math teacher.
What about what about this pattern? Based on these 3 figures, what would you expect to be the 4th and the 5th figure?
Hexagon.
Yep.
Hexagon is next,
Septagon.
and then septagon, is that the name for 7-sided gon?
I believe so.
Excellent. Right, that is correct. And I need to go down this way. Okay, so recognizing the pattern is step 1. Step 2 is to visualize. Sometimes it gets a little bit harder. For example, based on this series of pictures, what would you expect to happen when there are 20 diameters drawn in? So this is part that gets a little bit.
40 regions.
Yes, you're right.
Because it doubles.
I'm teaching to a sharp crowd. This lesson is going to take no time at all. So basically, you dissect it. You know, 1 diameter cuts it in half, 2 diameter cuts it into 4 pieces. So there's a relationship of 1 to 2. For each diameter, there are two regions. 2, and then so this is a 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 2 is 6. So if you have 20 diameters times 2, you will get 40 regions. And now this is going to get slightly more challenging. What is the sum of the first 30 even numbers? You can do that in your head quickly. You can probably do an app real quick. One way to do it is by collecting data. You can write everything out. And if you follow the pattern, 2, and then 2 plus 4 is this, 2 plus 4 plus 6 is thus, and so forth. And you will see a pattern. So at the end, if you want 30 even numbers, all you have to do is just 30 times 31. if I give you guys a chance to struggle a little bit first, and then we will show you the answers. Actually, the answer is kind of listed right here. Okay, step 4 for inductive reasoning is based on the data you've seen, you make forecasts. Weathermen do this all the time. Based on the existing pattern, trajectory of the hurricane, they say it's going to hit, XY point. What about this particular chart right here? I think it's interesting. If you just look on the chart alone and it looks pseudo-linear, what would you say the sales for backpack is come
March.
June and July, right? So all these are abbreviations for month, November, December, and it keeps declining, January, February, March, and then April. So what would you anticipate to happen in May, June, and July? If you just look on the pattern of the line alone.
0.
You bet that nobody will ever buy backpacks again, right? But with a little bit more information, since we're all in the education field, you know that's not the case. So sometimes inductive reasoning, it may be sound, but your conjecture, which is a fancy word for the conclusion, may not be valid. And this is where if I can go forward one more time. This is sometimes that your conjecture is falsifiable. It sounds like we're cheating on taxes, or not. Falsifiable is a fancy word for saying that there is holes. You can make it false. You can show the counterexamples. For example, could you come up with a counterexample for if the name of the month starts with the letter J, it is a summer month? Now that's the inductive reasoning. Because somebody looked at June and July and said, oh, okay, all the summer months must start with J. So the counterexample would be,
January.
which one?
January. If the name of the month starts
January.
with January.
Oh, for summer month. Oh, right, correct. Thank you. Right, and then for the next one, if you can connect any 3 points to form a triangle, is that always true? I'm looking at the math content guy.
Yes.
No, it would be a line.
Right, if they're
You can
collinear,
use any-
then you don't have a triangle. Excellent, excellent. And the last one, when you multiply any number by 2, the product is always greater than the original number. Is that true?
False. Negative numbers.
Negative numbers wouldn't work, right? The 0 wouldn't work. Excellent. So, may I have a time hack?
You have 12:30 left.
12:30 left. Okay. At this point, I will pass out the review sheet. Everybody will have the questions, and I have it duplicated on the board. And I will actually write down the number of questions on the board, and this is what I would do. Oh, wow, it's completely dry.
Here,
Let's see if you,
I have.
Check for understanding.
oh yeah.
Ah, I should have.
Come on.
Take points off. I wasn't ready.
Here.
Thank you.
I didn't know that one.
That was so lame.
So everybody knows what the questions are, and I call this the high participation questioning, because everybody's going to end up doing at least one problem. So I want people to volunteer to adopt the problem. For example, Chancey, thank you. And then Chancey wants to do the first one.
Cool.
And the name starts to fill out the board. Okay, Michaela, does the second one.
That's fine. Dot, dot, dot.
Yes. And then everybody's name will be on here. Sam will be on here. Sarah will be on here.
Easy one.
Dan will be on here, and so forth. And I'll give them a little bit of time to prep. And then we start reviewing this together. So instead of taking the homework home, we're going to do the homework right in the classroom as a check for understanding. See if you figured out how this inductive reasoning works. So about 2-3 minutes passed, and I asked Chancey to go first.
80 and 160.
That's number 6.
Well, yeah, but
Oh,
check
first one.
technically. it's-
Well, that's technically the first one.
add 5 to all these numbers that I wrote down. Because my question did not start with number 1. Thank you for catching that. And then people say they agree or disagree with Chancey's answer. We'll discuss it. And I think you got the right answer.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah. And then Michaela will do number 2.
Thank you.
Oh, no, Michaela.
Excuse
I
me,
don't know,
number
I don't
7.
have time.
You're
Number
trying to figure out
7,
what that
mental
pattern is.
3.
36.
Or
Okay.
36.
Yeah, Sam, you're right. Why don't you take over number 2? Why do you say it's 36?
Well, 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, 3 squared, and so on. So
3 squared, 4
the
squared.
6th one would be 6 squared,
36.
which is
Yeah.
36, and then 7 squared would be 40.
Right, right. And we'll do this so on and so forth until we either run out of time, right, or and get close to the end of the class. So we'll do that review together, and then this one is a little bit harder, and then we can do that as a group. For example, let's try tackling this last one together. Use the sequence and inductive reasoning to make a conjecture. Again, conjecture is a conclusion. What do you expect the color of the 15th figure
Oh boy.
to be?
The dark color.
Right.
The color.
The color of the first
I
square.
don't even know if you can see the different shades of color.
No, you
So
can't.
purple, red,
Where?
green,
Okay.
purple, red, green. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
There's only
Brown,
three.
aqua?
That's like
Purple,
Terry.
red.
So purple,
Brown aqua.
something red, something
I think it's
bluish,
gonna be
right?
red. 15th is gonna be red. I
It's
think.
gonna be the blue.
It's every
It's
Then we'll have a
3.
discussion on why you think you're right,
15th.
and then we'll come to a
The
consensus
next one.
of what do you think the right color should be.
10 is purple.
And then a different
It's
question
gonna
would
be
be,
blue or
what is the shape
teal.
of the
it's-
12th figure, and so forth.
It's blue.
It's
Oh,
gonna
you're
be
right.
that
It is
teal.
blue. It is blue.
I'm right. I'm the one who said
It's blue. It's teal. Whatever it is.
Do you
Good
agree
job,
with
team.
teal? I think-
I'm so engaged right now.
30th. Also blue.
So that's one advantage of using this technique, because everybody start paying attention because their name is on the line.
it.
So I recommend doing that if it fits your content.
I was actually Googling the fourth president.
Just now.
Well, because that was my question, so I wasn't paying attention to this.
So,
Um,
thank you for being honest.
I can't do that one because I'm colorblind. Really?
Wait. Okay, I did not make provisions for that. Then you are.
Be nice, guys.
Yes.
Do you have an IEP for that?
This is like classroom. I feel like we're back in
Yeah,
classroom.
that's what I just said.
Mr. Shi is learning by making mistakes.
Heckling the teacher.
So as closure, my technique it will be the 3 whats. You know, what have we learned today? The vocabs. Go ahead, Jensen.
Pattern.
Patterns, right?
What
Identify the
conjecture
patterns.
Same.
To make-
Inductive reasoning.
Right? Inductive reasoning. Right? Based on what you see, you make conclusions. All right. So what? This is the part is how is that relevant to us?
I know that on IQ tests, there's often pattern questions.
Okay.
So
ACT.
Concussion.
So if you want to feel good about being a genius, you must understand what inductive reasoning is before you go and take that. I don't know what that test is called. You know, Mensa test. And then so what's next? Okay, I'm going to jump in and say, well, this is kind of a primer for the if-then conditional statement that's coming up. You know, all about the hypothesis, conclusions, very exciting stuff, and it's coming up in the next class.
Yay.